I have 2 books at my bedside, Lieutenant. The Marine Corps Code of Conduct and the King James Bible.
I hate snakes, Doc! I hate them! And may the Christian Lord guide my hand against a Roman popery! And they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
We're on a mission from God.
Entitled, you want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Maybe we should chug on over to Mamby-Pamby land, where maybe we can find some self-confidence for you, you jackwagon!
Coming to you live from his padded cell high atop Bethel Church, the most heralded, the most despised talk show in all of human history. This is the talk show hell hates. This is Pastor Mike Online.
And here we are, coming to you live from our top secret broadcasting bunker here at Area 52. This is Pastor Mike, and I am online and live with you today. The fiery trials that we go through are only, the good news is, they're only gonna get worse. But we have a really, really good God. Good to be with you today. I've got some video clips to show you that have come in over the last few days, especially since this weekend. And several people, there's people in our church asking me, have I seen this? And it's just like unreal. And one of the things I'm talking about is this massive drone UFO manifestation in New Jersey. There is reports that a drone crashed. Now, let me say this. When I say drone, I may not be talking about like the commercial drones that you can buy. You can go over to Walmart and get a pretty sophisticated drone that works on GPS. You tell it, you give it the GPS coordinates to go to, and it goes right to it. You don't have to fly it. It'll fly over there, turn around, fly back. These things are becoming more and more self-automated, and with AI, they are becoming more and more self-intelligent, and they could at some point be made self-aware. I mean, it's bad enough that our phones, our tablets, our laptops, our desktops, with these cameras that are on or can be turned on. It's bad enough that we have those. There was one Sunday morning, I had in my office here at the church, I had a desktop computer, and I had put a webcam on there because I was like talking with somebody on Skype or something like that. And I didn't really pay much attention to, they give you the option of putting a password on those to have them password protected. And, you know, they tell you, you need to password protect this because then somebody can just tap into it. Well, I didn't believe all that. I mean, lawyers make them write that stuff, right? So I come in one Sunday morning and I set my stuff down. I'm looking at my desk, and I said out loud, I said it in like a low voice. I'm talking to myself, which I do quite a bit. I said, what's that blue light doing on my webcam? And it blinked and shut off as soon as I said that, which means that someone had tapped in to that webcam. It's got a microphone on it. This one does too. I just don't use it. But someone had tapped into that webcam and was both watching and listening. Now, there wasn't anything to watch or listen to because I hadn't been at the church all weekend, just that Sunday morning. I didn't notice it at any time before, and I think I would have. So, I mean, I don't know who it was. I don't know what their reason was other than hack. Okay? Hack is the reason that some people use. Why are you hacking into this computer? Because hacking. Okay? That's the reason why. But could it have been more nefarious than that? Yes, it could. I told you about how we had security cameras all around the building on the outside and the inside. And I noticed, because I was going through internet logs one time, and I noticed that there was a something that was reaching out to a website that was just numbers, like 198.100.201.1, something like that. And I didn't know what it was, but it was like doing it like every 3 or 4 minutes. So I went to whois.com. That's a website where you can find out who owns a website. And I typed in those numbers, found out that it was a company in China. And I immediately, I got into the router, and they have a thing set up in the router where you can block certain websites, for like parental controls. And I cut it off. And then that was several years ago. And then it was like during the latter part of Obama's presidency that they found out, lo and behold, that the Pentagon had ordered like millions of these cameras, and they had them in defense installations across the country and maybe even around the world. And all of these cameras were linked in by their programming to this company in China. Let's just hand them the nuclear keys and say, hey, China, if you ever want to disable our weapons, here's the key right here. So anyway, all right, back to this web camera. This guy, I don't know if it's a security camera or he set up a, okay, I see it now, straight out of the Sony low light camera. Not low life camera, low light camera. And this is going to be, he takes what probably would be an hour-long video, and he reduces it down to about 5 minutes. Now, this is going to blow your mind. Back to the orb, or back to the drone situation. What you're going to find out is that these are not commercial drones. They can't be. These are not military drones. They can't be that either. So that leaves us the question, what are they? And what are they doing? And for some reason, they are focused on this area in New Jersey. And are they there doing recon? Are they there to show forth their manifestation of themselves? In other words, to say, here we are, we're here, we're real, get used to this. Okay? And I'll explain that as we move along. This is about the beginning of the video, and I want you to watch now. It's not hard to find. Look at that. It looks like the bubbles at the beginning and ending of the Lawrence Welk show. Okay? That's a pretty good one. Now, notice these lights. They're not all coming up from the ground here. Some of them manifest, they just show up like in the middle of the sky. They travel for a while and then they just disappear. Commercial drones, they don't act that way. You run a commercial drone and you get a notification that your battery's about dead. Well, you just hit a button and it automatically comes back to you. So you don't lose your drone after you've flown it off, half a mile away. And these things are they're appearing, they're flying, and then they just disappear. Let me hit the video again. This is ongoing now. I haven't rewound it, but just look at the number of them. To and fro and here and there. It's just startling. Now, the guy that made this video, he said at the beginning that he sped it up about 64 times regular speed. So I'm not quite sure that's that accurate, but that's what he says. But you just notice that they just disappear. They don't go back. They don't fall down. They just fade out. It's like they come in to our realm of existence, and then they fade out of our realm of existence, which makes sense if you believe that these are multi-dimensional objects rather than interplanetary or interstellar objects. In other words, they didn't come from some other planet. They don't come from... so now we have a little break, and now, here we go with some more. They don't come from Zeta Reticuli or wherever. These things are manifesting right here in and out of our current reality. And that's about the best way I can explain it. So if I were to my goodness, that one's big. Let me play that one again. Let me go back here to, that one. Good grief. Back a little bit more. And let's see where this thing comes from. There it is. Look at the size of that light. That is big. And it just goes off into infinity and beyond. Look at the speed of that one traveling. Even at 64 times video speed, that's moving pretty fast. And they're going quite a long ways. I would say more than, did you see that? Watch here. That one. This one right here. Watch this one. Hit warp speed. Boom. And they're just gone. So if I were to bring in scripture here, the chariots of God are 20,000, even thousands of angels. So what are we looking at? We're looking at, more than likely, we are looking at some form of manifestation of light beings. They are alive. Because if you remember from Ezekiel 1, the chariot of God is an angel. It is a living creature, powered by living creatures, and wheeled about by living wheels. And we know they're living wheels because the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. So the spirit of Mike Hoggard is in Mike Hoggard. And it's what gives me life. Without the spirit being in this physical body, then this physical body is no more alive than a wagon wheel from an old horse-drawn buggy. Okay? It's no more alive than that. You put the spirit in me, then this exterior body is alive. And it does whatsoever the Spirit wills for it to do. This has been going on now 5 minutes, and I mean, we've just had, it's fading down now, and here's a drone spotted over downtown Dallas. I think that's the tail end of that. All right. What do you think about that? If you want to leave a comment, if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or any place like you want to leave a comment, please do. And try to be as scriptural as you possibly can. Don't just write on there and say, God doesn't have anything to do with this. Give me scriptural reasons why you think that God has nothing to do with this. And if you say God has nothing to do with this, and this is not of God, then where did they come from? Who made them? And how is it that they were created, but God didn't create them? Because according to the Bible that I read, King James, my God created everything, good and bad, righteous and evil. If you don't believe that, I'm sorry. I mean, did God not create Lucifer with the full knowledge and intention that Lucifer was going to do what he was made to do? I've had some people argue with me and say, well, God made Lucifer good. And Lucifer, God made Lucifer good, and then Lucifer made the choice to be bad. If Lucifer made any kind of decision to be bad, God put that in him to do that. Why? To give us a true choice, to give mankind a choice on who to follow. Are we going to follow God, or are we going to turn away from the devil, turn away from Satan, turn away from his lies and his temptations and choose God? Or are we going to give in to the temptations and follow what the devil suggests for us to do? And in that sense, God created us, right? God created man, but did God create man with the knowledge that man would choose sin? Sure he did. And if he didn't, he's not much of a God. I can tell you that. If he couldn't figure out that man was going to sin fairly quickly after being created, if he couldn't see that in advance, he's not much of a God for us. I can tell you that. But he is, because he knows everything. He knows the end from the beginning. There's nothing hid from him. And I preached a message Sunday morning on the eyes of the Lord and about how they're everywhere. They're everywhere. God sees everything. And by the way, I don't do this very often. But I know that some of you listen to this ministry because I talk about certain issues like UFOs, Bigfoot, conspiracies, things like that. I'm interested in them. I would listen to me, and I'm just thankful that you do. But there's more to me than just, this conspiracy stuff. I pastor a church, and which means that I have a flock of sheep, both here and around the world, and I'm responsible for that flock. I am. And I take that role very seriously. I ask God to give me a message for Sunday. And I ask God to give us revival Sunday. I asked very specific things for last Sunday morning, and boy, did God ever come through. I would have to say that our morning benches were full of people, and we don't play 3 or 4 verses of Just As I Am all the time. In fact, almost never. If God lays it on my heart to call people to come pray, then we do. If I don't feel like God's leading me to do that, I'll just say, look, the altars are open. If you want to come, you're more than welcome to. But you can pray right where you are. In fact, I'm just not. I just got over years ago trying to sell my sermons to people, and the evidence that they're going to buy it is that they come to the altar at the end of the service. And I always felt like if nobody came down, that I must have done a lousy job preaching, and it was like the stronghold the devil was using to try to talk me out of preaching. And finally, I just said, if I feel God leading, I'm going to have just an altar call. But if I don't feel God leading in it, I'm going to wait. And so I said, come down, let's pray. And boy, God's people just ran down there. And I had some people that came to me privately and said some things after the service that just almost made me weep in tears. And it was things that I had been specific things that I had been praying about the day before. And so if you have not watched or listened to this last Sunday's message, I strongly encourage you to do that. Okay, it is a good spiritual growth, preaching, teaching, so on. And I need it, and I know you do. All right? All right. Now, let's go to, let's see, what else was I going to show you? What else did I have for you here? Let's see, what was it there? Let's see, breaking. Let's see here. No, I did that. No, let's see here. Where or have you gone? Well, since I can't find it. Oh, I know what it is. Never mind. I know where to look now. I did some captures of some YouTube videos. I bought this program. We've been using it for years here, and it converts video and audio to different formats. And one of the things that it says it does is that it downloads YouTube videos, and you can convert them to whatever format you want. But it doesn't work very well sometimes, and so, we just don't. It just doesn't work. But I did capture some other videos. Let's see. Is it this one? Maybe it's this one. This was the drone, I think. And now that you saw the drones in the sky, what do you think they were? In fact, we just saw that one, so I'm going to go to the next one. Do you believe that they were just commercial drones that are, people are flying, and that there was some kind of drone party that night? Or was it something the military was doing? Or was it something that the Illuminati? Or here's my favorite one. Anytime something happens in the sky, people can't figure it out, they go, Project Bluebeam. That's Project Bluebeam right there. And I challenge anyone to find for me evidence, firm evidence, that there is an actual NASA program whereby they are able to put giant holograms up in the sky to fool people into believing that there's some mysterious thing in the sky. And don't send me somebody's 2.5-hour lecture where they mention Project Bluebeam, because I'm not watching it. I don't have time. Here's my point. There was a French-Canadian author back in the 90s who said that he had heard that NASA was working on something called Project Blue Beam, and that it was something whereby they could transmit holograms into the sky. Now, that's one source. That's one witness. And I spent like a week searching this out. Every website that I went to that mentioned Project Bluebeam, all of them got their source from this one book written by this French Canadian who said that he heard that NASA had a project called Project Bluebeam. But it never ceases to annoy me when anything goes on up in the sky. People say, look, it's Project Bluebeam. That's what they're doing. Yeah, they're going to fool everybody and make everybody think that Jesus is in the air. Well, one of these days, people, he's going to be. And I just hope you don't think I'm not believing that. That's Project Bluebeam. That can't be Jesus, because he's not supposed to come until this right here. It's me warning you to be careful about what you believe to be true and what's not true. Okay? All right, now now I'm going to talk about this, right? Oh boy, here we go. All right, this was on Slapped Ham, and this caught my attention. This is one of those. There's the image of a person that. Well, it's just interesting. Okay, I'll let it play. Yo trabajo en un hospital de noche. That's night. That's hospital. Un costada hey un hospital. That's hospital. I know that one. Abandonado. It's an abandoned hospital building across the street from where these people work. Okay? There's an abandoned building over there, and they look out, and it looks like there's like one floor of the building that's on fire. Because they see, like through the glass, they can see fire all back in there, okay? Eran como las, and it happens at 3:30. Listen to that. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, that made it sound. Al asomarme por la ventana vi esto. Le puse atención y se ve como una persona con cuernos. I don't know what that means. But anyway, Livia, if you're watching, help me out here, okay? Anyway, watch this, okay? This is kind of weird, but it has a biblical answer to it. No, this is not the fire. This is like beef footage, okay? Notice they got a big fire. It looks like that whole area is on fire. Look at that. Okay, now there doesn't seem to be, a lot of smoke coming out. In fact, I didn't see any smoke at all. Okay, you just don't see it. There's none there. And so it looks like there's somebody there. Let me go back a little bit to right about here. Watch. There's a figure there, standing there in the fire, moving around. You see it? And then he disappears. He kind of drops down. Watch it again. Zooms in. There's somebody standing there, and they kind of move around. Oh, got a close-up look there. He moves about and then drops down. Okay? Now that's wild. But I want you to think Bible on this one. Okay? Think Bible. You see no smoke anywhere. I mean, here's a view of like the back of the building outside, and there's no smoke coming out there. Air is not full of smoke, and so on. You just don't see smoke along with this fire. So my first question is this a three-dimensional physics-based fire that consumes material objects in this world? Or is it a fourth-dimensional fire that can appear, listen to this now, and burn and glow and everything else, but not consume the material, the three-dimensional material that it encompasses. Am I talking Bible? Am I talking over your head? Am I talking Bible to you? Is there a story in the Bible where they see a fire in a tree, but the tree just doesn't seem like it's crackling and popping and branches falling off and smoke everywhere? So how can that be? Is it possible that this fire, I won't say it's not real, obviously it is, but is it a fire that is from a higher dimension, therefore would not have any effect on this three-dimensional reality, world, universe that you and I live in? We'll see it one more time. You can see him clearly moving around. I mean, that's somebody in there, okay? That's somebody that's in there. Now, let's explore some Bible here on that, because if we're going to believe something, let's believe that the Bible has the answers. Let's establish it not only for our benefit, but for the benefit of those who are lost. Because there are a lot of people in this world right now that have been conditioned in this modern time to believe that there are spiritual things that are part of this world that we live in and part of the universe that is all around us. And the church or churches, when it comes to paranormal events, supernatural events, I am amazed at how many churches are totally silent when it comes to anything that is outside of the realm of the safety dance sermons that they preach. You remember the safety dance, don't you? Safety dance. Okay? The one-hit wonder from, what was it, Men Without Brains? No, Men Without Hats. Anyway, just the total absence of anything supernatural. Why? Because reputation, because money, because, oh, he's a kook, oh, he believes in all this stuff, he searches all this stuff all the time, and they won't touch it. They won't, while they may have questions, they're certainly not going to bring it up in anything they say publicly. Why? Because they could lose members out of their congregation, and that would cut into the treasury, and oh my goodness, and when it comes time for their Christmas bonus or the raise that the pastor's supposed to get, why, they can't have him running everybody off and scaring everybody with supernatural stuff. So they don't talk about anything like that. But it's there, and you've got the lost world that is trying to provide answers, and for the most part, they're going to be the wrong answers. But people are going to follow it because at least somebody dared to talk about it. So, what could this be? What could this be? Well, let's load up a can of King James, shall we? Psalm 105, verse 32, he gave them hail for rain and flaming fire in their land. Now that is so interesting to me, because I believe the Bible is telling you that what fell on Egypt when God was plaguing Egypt was no ordinary fire. It wasn't. Psalm 104:4. Who maketh his, I need a pen on this. Who maketh his angels spirits. So we know that God's messengers, the word angelos, Greek word angelos, means messenger. Evangelos or evangelion comes from the word angelos. It has the word angel in it. Evangelist, angel. They're both tied together. An evangelist is someone who brings the message of God to people who need to hear the message from God. Okay? Primarily lost people. They need to hear it. So he maketh his angels spirits. So they are of the spiritual realm, a higher dimension than us, the fourth dimension, if you will, mathematically. And then it says his ministers a what? Flaming fire. Well, that's exactly the phrase he used here to describe what fell, and we're like a chapter away from each other, to describe what fell on the land of Egypt, but it had no effect in Goshen. God supernaturally protected Goshen from this flaming fire that fell down from heaven. Did you hear what I just said? Angels are made of fire. That's what they're made of. Now, I don't understand that, but I think it's neat. So then angels would appear as light beings. Okay, because flame gives off light. A candle is a flame. It gives off light. A lamp, using olive oil or some other kind of oil to burn, and as it burns, it gives off heat and it gives off light. And people used it for even the filament light bulbs that we have. That basically it's a fire inside there, but it doesn't burn up because there's no oxygen. So it just causes the filament to glow. But it gets hot and it gives off light just like flame does. So basically it's talking about the same thing. But who maketh his angels spirits and his ministers a flaming fire. So then we have proof of that when Moses, he was in the land of Midian with Jethro Bodine from Beverly Hillbillies. And he is tending the sheep, and he sees a bush burning, and he's like, well, I got to go check this out. But as he draws near it, what does he see? He sees the flame, but it is obvious to him that this flame is not consuming this bush. And so he naturally sees something that is beyond the three-dimensional physical universe that he lives in, that I live in, that you live in. That it was, in fact, a spiritual, fourth-dimensional fire. Now, I got something that where did I get it from? I was doing research on this new project that it's going to take me a while to put it together. It's called Babylon's Builders. And I'm going to deal with the occult layout of like certain cities or certain areas like Washington, D.C., the Vatican, places like that, certain buildings that have occult characteristics to it. They're made a certain way for certain mystical reasons. And it hit me what pyramids are all about. See, boy, I shouldn't tell this, but I will. The word pyramid, and this is so simple now that once you learn it, you'll never forget it. Pyre, P-Y-R-E, means what? Fire. In fact, the words are etymologically related. While one, let's say the ancient Slavic said pyre, the French may have said fire. And because our language comes a lot from Norman France origin, when the Normans invaded England, and you had the Anglo-Saxon and the Normans fusing their words together, and this is what made English what it is. But they're related. But then the other part of the word, and by the way, pyramids generally are how many sides? You have a depiction of a fourth dimensional fire. Okay, interesting. But then it goes beyond that. Pyramid. And it's so simple, I don't know why I guess God has a timing for everything. But it basically means, the word pyramid basically means a fire in the midst, or a fire in the middle. And it describes a lot of things. Number one, this idea that, and this is Jewish Kabbalah, and this is other things, the idea that we humans have in us a spark of divinity, that the Ein Sof, or the Adam Kadmon, the Adam Kadmon in Jewish Kabbalah, which is sort of like the emanation from the eternal God, Ein Sof is how they refer to him, that the final emanation from the Ein Sof is a thing called Adam Kadmon. Adam Kadmon would be like our second Adam, okay? Because our second Adam is Christ. But the Adam Kadmon in Kabbalah is an emanation of the eternal being that they say God is, and that Adam Kadmon had all of divinity in him, and he had all of the matter of the universe contained in him. But then, boom, there was an explosion, and what do they call it? In creation, or not creation, but in evolution. The Big Bang, yeah. And that Adam Kadmon broke into an unknown amount of tiny little bits so that every atom and every molecule in the universe has a tiny little piece of atom Kadmon in it, including us humans. Every cell that we have, every atom that's in our body has that spark of atom Kadmon in us. And if we will meditate right and keep the Torah, the 10 Commandments, and honor them because they represent 10 divine beings, remember the 10 kings, okay, then Jews, nobody else, because a pure Kabbalist, someone who's a Jewish sage or a Jewish rabbi or a Jewish student of Kabbalah, as long as they are in fact Jewish, the Kabbalah teaches that the Jews are the only ones who are ever going to be qualified to become divine because they're the chosen people. Okay? It's nice that the Gentiles want to study our religion, but of course, we're not going to tell them the truth, and they'll never understand it anyway, and so they can never, ever, ever attain to what we're going to attain to. Okay, but that's what they believe. They believe that there's this fire in the midst of everybody, pyramid in everybody, and that that's how we can become gods. But anyway, that's a Watchman broadcast about 6 months away from now. Okay, because it's pretty deep stuff. But I just let you know where I'm. I will tell you this. You can look up in the King James Pure Bible Search software a fire, type in the word fire, and then underneath it, do a same verse search for the word midst, M-I-D-S-T, or amid, or in them, or whatever. And you're going to oh, wow, that looks so cool. You may not understand it, but it's gonna look neat, all right? So anyway, this video that we just saw, is it possible that it was depicting a fourth dimensional fire inside that building, never actually burned anything up, but here's this man in there, this humanoid figure moving around in it, and you would say, why is he not screaming in agony and so on? Because I don't think he was human. If what we're seeing is real, then obviously he's not human. He must be a spirit because they're made of flaming fire. And fire can't burn other fire, right? It's all fire. So, now, let me go back a little bit. This theme of fire is so thick and heavy in charismatic, Pentecostal, apostolic Reformation, Latter-day Prophets. They're all the time talking about, oh, we need the fire. Oh, bring down the fire from heaven. Hold on a second. Don't we have a prophecy in the Bible telling us, let me get to it, about a prophet who can bring down fire from heaven? I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb. He spake as a dragon. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. That's your false prophet right there. And they are constantly talking about, oh, God, send the fire down from heaven. Send the fire down from heaven. Oh, God, light us all up. Fire from Heaven Conference. Join us for a night of fire with our youth band. Oh, boy. I wonder if they're going to start out with Rock of Ages, Cleft for Me, and end with Amazing Grace, or start out with Amazing Grace and end with like Nothing But the Blood. And of course, I'm being facetious because you know that all this is just an excuse to have some rock band come in, crank up the guitars as loud as they possibly can, stir everybody up with loud music, extremely loud drum beats, and basically they're going to stir up emotional responses from all the people who go to this. And then they're going to say, oh, that what you're feeling right now, that's the Lord. That's the Lord. That's evidence right there that you got the Lord. You got the fire in you. But listen, people, this generation of churchianity, what I call the Christian industrial complex, taking over denominations, taking over denominational churches, taking over what people call Christianity in America and around the world. Really, you want to bring fire from heaven? Well, listen, that doesn't work out so well. I mean, you can go back to the story of Elijah, but the fire that came down from God that night burnt everything that it touched. It burnt the altar. It burnt up all the water that was dumped on it. It burned up the sacrifice so that there was nothing there afterward. And to me, it's not a coincidence that we have this prophecy of the false prophet who brings fire down from heaven, who's got the ability. So ask yourself, what would that fire be that he's calling down from heaven? Now that we know that spirits are made of fire, I wonder what that fire that these latter-day prophets and so on are calling down from heaven, what fire that is. And don't get all mixed up in your theology that all the bad angels are in hell and they come up and do bad things, and all the good angels are in heaven, because we know for a fact from biblical sources that bad angels are up with God, and God dispatches them to do certain things to fulfill his plan. We know that in the day of Micaiah was asked to tell whether or not the war was going to go well for Jehoshaphat and for Ahab. And Micaiah said, well, let me tell you what I saw. I saw God asking who will go and deceive Ahab. And he had a bunch of angels that responded, and God picked this one. He said, how will you do it? He said, I'll just go be a lying spirit in the mouth of all of his prophets. And God said, you've got it. Go do it. He was up in heaven with God. So you don't think that all the evil angels are down in hell and all the good angels are up in heaven, because it's not that way. Not now. It isn't that way. There's coming a time when, yes, they're going to be put out from heaven. And then you're going to see a firestorm, the likes of which have never been seen in this world at all. And again, that is just go to an image search and type that in. Firestorm. You're going to find so many ministries. Let me show you this. Look at this. See this down here? Shabbat.org. Or if I just read it as one word, Shabbat.org. Okay. Shabbat is a cabal, a group of rabbis and Jews, practicing Jews, who are studying Kabbalah. And to your religious Jews, I always had this misguided idea that all of the practicing Jews in our day were like half Christians, okay? Like they were good people. They were solid in the Old Testament. They believed the law. They believed what God said all throughout the Old Testament. They just didn't quite make the leap over to the Gospels. But I found out how wrong I was. Your average, in fact, you're overwhelmingly modern 21st century practicing Jew studies Kabbalah. That is what it means to be a believing Jew and a religious Jew and a practicing Jew in this world, is that you study Kabbalah. And I keep reading Kabbalah books and Kabbalah websites, and I'll tell you, you will never figure out nor understand what that religion is all about. You never will. There are Jews who study it from the moment they start reading. And they live to be old men, and they don't get it. But it says, within you is a fire from heaven. What did I just tell you? The Big Bang, kaboom, and it's got a spark of divinity in every molecule, every atom in the universe, and in us. So within you is a fire from heaven. Never underestimate the power of your soul. In other words, turn from this divine spark to turn out to be the total sum of God. That's what Bruce Almighty was about. Bruce Almighty was about, Jim Carrey's and Morgan Freeman is God, and he tells Jim Carrey, hey, you've got a spark of divinity in you. Well, that's what they tell everybody. God Culture, Firestorm Conference, Glory, a cinematic worship experience. Notice this. In other words, we're going to do light shows and movies and rock and roll, and at the end of that, when we've got them all emotional, then we'll just tell them God's in you. You've got God in you. You're going to heaven. Everything's okay. It's not that way. Yeah, Bethel Church has a fire tunnel. making their converts pass through the fire. And these people that fall for this, you know, I look at American churches, and I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I'll be honest with you, I've got way more compassion for the churches in Kenya than I do for America. Because I've been in these churches in Kenya. I've preached in their churches, their huts, their unair conditioned mud and brick buildings. And I've been with these people, and I love them dearly. But this is like the epitome of Americanism and churchianity mixed together, and it drives me insane. I just almost have no sympathy for these people, because they have Bibles and they can read. I mean, the whole purpose of God giving us the ability to read is so that we are not ignorant and led astray by the devil's lies, when we can just open up our Bible and read it and say, this is thus saith the Lord, and then know the truth. But obviously these people, they run them through the fire tunnel without telling them. Now, God always got on to the Jews for doing this, so let's not tell God we're doing this, okay? Because we don't want to get in trouble. But that's just what they do. It's how they do it. 1 Peter chapter 4. Keeping in mind now what we've been saying, what I've been telling you about this, I have believed this for quite a while, for at least 20 some odd years. From the time in 97 when God turned my heart toward the Word and said, let's study prophecy. It's okay. Revelation or Daniel. Well, I found out quickly that it was more than just Revelation and Daniel. There's prophecy all throughout the Bible, page after page after page. Either the statements of the prophets themselves in a direct manner, or in the doctrines of God and the doctrines that surround prophecy and so on, and of course in typology, symbolism, numbers. You name it, okay? And have believed for a long time, because of 1 Peter, that there is coming for us before we make our way out of this world. There is coming for us a fiery trial. Beloved, think it not strange. Now, why did Peter craft this sentence this way? Well, Peter really didn't. The Holy Ghost gave him this sentence. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. Why, you were reading Schofield's notes. You were reading Jack Van Impe. You were reading Hal Lindsey, Late Great Planet Earth. You were reading, who else writes this stuff? Clarence Larkin. You were reading all of these books that were telling you that nothing happens to us good old Christians. And that we have nothing to worry about because, and I have to say this, and I don't want to because I have friends that I love dearly, and I would not seek to hurt them by my disagreement because I still have the greatest respect for them. I understand that I think differently. I get it. I can't help it. I try, but I can't help it. But I just see things that to me make sense, and other things that I look at just do not make sense to me. So, beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you. It's as plain as I could put it. As though some strange thing happened unto you. So he's saying a fiery trial is coming to try us. And after all, when we consider a big blazing fire and someone walking around in it, what did you think of? Yeah, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, the Son of God. I mean, that's what I thought of. Although I didn't quite, place them inside this building with this other guy walking around, okay? Nebuchadnezzar could plainly see the 3 young men that he had thrown in there, and he could plainly see that the 4th in there was like the Son of Man or the Son of God. And so it wasn't these humanoid figures where they had the form of a human in there that he didn't know what was going on. He knew clearly. He could see all 3 of them that he threw in there, plus he saw the Son of God in there. Very clear, very plain. So it wasn't like this video that I showed you. But a fiery trial is coming, and I think that this fiery trial has something to do with this. Who maketh his angels spirits, his ministers a flaming fire. Think about it. What would happen if God released to earth all of these unclean spirits, evil spirits, lying spirits, down to earth, and they spread this wild spiritual fire released all over the earth? And remember, this is a spirit that we're referring to. Okay? It's a spirit. And this is spread all throughout the earth. And all of a sudden now, everybody believes the same thing. They believe they have the same ideas about who God is. They just believe everything is common among them because it's all the same spirit that's in them. A fiery spirit that is in them. Okay? The exception, of course, is us. All of us around the world who are born again, love the Lord, love His Word, meditate on His Word, speak of His Word, read His Word, believe His Word, have His Word hid in their heart. So this event takes place, and God's true people are saying, no, this is not for us. No, no pyramid on me. No fire in the midst of me. None of that. I already have the glowing light of the Holy Ghost in me. I don't need fire to come down from heaven. I don't need this flaming fire spirit to come and take over. I don't need that. I already have. Where's my Bible? Oh, it's out there. By the way, if you were watching before, I've got a new Watchman broadcast out. Boom! It's up on Sermon Audio. It's on my YouTube channel already. And I promise you, you will enjoy it. And wait until the next one comes out. Because, man, I got some stuff to tell you. Anyway, back at the ranch. This is what I think is going to happen. This is the firestorm right here. These angels poured out all over the place. It's a fiery trial to us. And God is saying, don't think that's some strange thing. But rejoice inasmuch as ye are partakers of Christ's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, you may be glad also with exceeding joy. If, and I'm always careful to point out that there's always an if to these things. If ye be reproached for the name of Christ, happy are ye. For the Spirit of glory and of God resteth upon you. What did I say? And I just caught this. Meanwhile, this just in from heavenly Jerusalem, Psalm 91. I just now caught that. Let me get it to it here, and I'll go back and I'll read you what I mean here. Psalm 91, notice this. He said in verse 14, 1 Peter 4, if ye be reproached for the name of Christ, happy are ye, for the Spirit of glory and of God resteth upon you. Okay? The Spirit, notice that it's a Spirit of glory and it's a Spirit of God, and it's going to rest on you. Okay? Now, Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, neither for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. Therefore shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all the ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet, because he has set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble, and will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. This in part was read or quoted by Satan to Jesus to get him to jump off the cliff. It says up here that God said, he shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. And you say, well, I didn't know God had feathers. I mean, obviously, that's just a metaphor. I mean, Pastor Mike, you're making everything so literal. I mean, obviously, that's not really what that means. Oh, yeah? You want to bet? You want to make a bet? No, I don't want to either. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings, who will? God. Excuse me, wrong. There it is, God. When Jesus came up from being baptized in the river Jordan, what rested on him? A dove. And what was that dove? The Holy Ghost. And isn't the Holy Ghost God? Yes. And doesn't doves have feathers? Yes. And then Isaiah 11, there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Spirit of the Lord, look at there, shall rest upon him. Oh, man, I love this Bible. I love this Bible search. The Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom. And then it gives us the 7 spirits of God. But notice, the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him. And then back here, we saw that, for the Spirit of glory and of God resteth upon you. The Spirit of God, with its wisdom, with its power, with its might, with all the things that it has, resting upon you, giving you grace at such an hour. And on their part, he is evil spoken of, but on your part, he is glorified. So, just a little something for you to ponder. I think it's been a while since I've talked about anything like this, and I study it out still, and I read it, and I look at it, and I go, you know what? I still believe it. I haven't found anything yet that makes me believe that I was wrong in some way. And believe me, there's a lot of... I don't hear that music very loud. Let me see if I can turn that up a little bit. Oh, yeah. Maybe that's a little too much. There we go. Now we're hipping and flipping. Anyway, I sometimes I wish that I just would just go ahead and believe what everybody else believes, and it'd be a lot easier for me. Maybe I'd get a lot more speaking engagements at churches, but that would be, to me, it would be a sellout, number one, to what I think God has given me, and I won't do that. Number two, it would be a sellout to me, and number three, it'd be a sellout to you. Because many of you out there, I mean, you've had this stuff pounded in you for years on how to believe about everything. But then you go and you read the scriptures and it doesn't add up. So anyway, but I still believe it. I still believe that a fiery trial is coming, and it's going to purify us and get us ready for the world to come. Amen. Amen. All right. Go watch that Watchman broadcast. It's already uploaded on Sermon Audio. It's uploaded on YouTube. Like it. Share it. Share it, please. Help us share our ministry with other people. Send other people. Share them on your... Hey, if you want to download them from my YouTube channel, put them on your YouTube channel, knock yourself out. That would just tickle me to death for you to do that. You have my permission to copy them all you want to. Okay? I don't care who does it. Do it. Share it with others. Okay? Because you just never know. I may be talking about something and it's right up what some people have been asking questions about. Somebody came to me Sunday morning. He said, Pastor, you don't know this, but a year ago, you preached on something, and they said, I was guilty of it. Bad guilty of it. And they said, you don't know this, but I went to God, and I asked God to take this away from me. And this person said, I've been free now for a year. Woo! I like stuff like that. All right, I got to go. I love you. You know I love you. See ya.